The 51st Evacuation Hospital was the only hospital unit to be formed in Sacramento during World War II. The unit was the inspiration of Dr. Orrin S. Cook, a World War I veteran and head of the radiology department at Sacramento's Mercy General Hospital. Early in 1942, Dr. Cook applied to the U.S. Army Medical Corps for permission to form a Sacramento County-affiliated field hospital. Permission for formation of such a unit was received from Colonel Shambora in Washington, D.C., and the recruiting of doctors and nurses was initiated. In September 1942, induction of the volunteer group began at Fort Douglas, Utah, the volunteers receiving direct commissions. The group was assigned to temporary duty at Fort Ord, California until the 750-bed 51st Evacuation Hospital was officially mobilized the latter part of September 1942 at Fort Lewis, Washington. In October 1942, I, Dr. Ted Rulison Jr., was assigned to the 51st Evac at Fort Lewis as an anesthesiologist from the Mayo Clinic, where I was in a fellowship training program. Fort Lewis, Washington, September 1942 to March 1943. At Fort Lewis, the unit was assigned a regular Army commanding officer, Colonel Wendell Weller, who had been a medical officer captain at Letterman General Hospital in San Francisco until the start of World War II. A cadre of enlisted men, plus additional medical officers, were also assigned to fill out the table of organization of the 51st Evacuation Hospital. The unit was quartered in barracks at North Fort Lewis, where we learned to live without privacy and become accustomed to Army mess rations. All of the nurses, and some of the medical officers, were assigned to duty at the Fort Lewis Station Hospital. Training for the remainder of the unit consisted of 5-mile hikes with packs, training in the use of gas masks and other equipment. There were night maneuvers when we would set up the hospital tents in freezing or rainy weather and amid simulated battle casualties under blackout conditions. Here are the tents drying after one of the night exercises. Just as the weather at Fort Lewis was beginning to show signs of spring, we received orders to move to the Desert Training Center in the Movavi Desert of California to provide medical support for General Patton's armored divisions training there. Here leaving for California are Lieutenant Colonel Orrin Cook, Major Dudley Seltzer, and Captain Donald Jones, with Captains Soratsko and Mendelhoff seeing them on. Also leaving are Captain and Mrs. Andrew Henderson and Captain Ken Dufour. Jones is a whistle stop on the Santa Fe Railroad halfway between Barstow and Needles. To be dropped off with our bedrolls and footlockers in an area with nothing but sand and scrub as far as one could see was a bit intimidating. Some, including Major Cordus Ankiel, found the answer in assuming a horizontal position. Our headquarters looked anything but official, and mess was just picnicking.